And the Oscar of the worst semi-truck goes to...
Today we're taking a look back at the disco era to explore some semi-truck models that probably should have stayed there. Ever wonder why some trucks just disappeared from our roads? What makes a manufacturer stop making a model that cost them millions to create? And how bad does a truck have to be for drivers to refuse to drive it, even when they're being paid? Stick around to find out. Number 1. International Transar 2, produced between 1974 and 1981. The Transar 2 was considered advanced for its era, yet its advantages were limited. International aimed to develop an aerodynamic cab-over design, but ultimately fell short. The vehicle experienced persistent overheating problems attributed to inadequate airflow design. The aesthetically appealing nose cone inadvertently obstructed airflow to the radiator, resulting in engines overheating even under mild conditions. Moreover, the situation deteriorated further. The cab mounts were notoriously fragile, creating a ride experience akin to being on a mechanical bull at a local bar. Drivers noted significant cab movement, with some even facing mount failures while traveling at highway speeds, far from ideal when transporting 40 tons. To compound these issues, the Transar 2 was equipped with an experimental electronic dashboard that malfunctioned so often that International had to provide complementary retrofits with conventional gauges. The dealer network lacked sufficient training to service these electronic components, leading to prolonged downtimes for straightforward repairs. Some owners reported incurring diagnostic fees that exceeded their fuel expenses. Number 2. White Freightliner, WFT 8664T from 1976. In 1976, this experimental truck, powered by a turbine, appeared to represent the future of transportation. However, it ultimately did not fulfill that promise. White Freightliner collaborated with Boeing to create a gas turbine engine intended for commercial trucking. The outcome was a maintenance challenge that consumed fuel at an alarming rate, reminiscent of a college freshman's first experience at a party. The turbine engine utilized nearly double the fuel of standard diesel engines while providing less torque at highway speeds. As fuel prices surged during the oil crisis, this fuel-inefficient vehicle became as unpopular as disco music is today. Only 50 units were produced, and the majority of them ended up serving as costly lawn decorations. Number 3. Mack Cru Liner, produced between 1973 and 1975. Do not be misled by the opulent name. The Cru Liner represented Mack's endeavor to enter the luxury sleeper cab market. However, they overlooked a vital aspect: quality control. The cab was plagued by significant water leaks, leading drivers to frequently awaken to damp beds following rainstorms. The weather stripping was so inadequate that some drivers humorously suggested that it was designed with fish in mind. The electrical system was equally problematic, with erratic shorts resulting in issues ranging from flickering dashboard lights to complete electrical outages. Some truckers found themselves carrying more fuses than cargo. The final blow to its reputation was the air conditioning system, which had a troubling tendency to fail during sweltering summer journeys through Texas. The so-called luxury features were not much of an improvement. The anticipated high-end sound system was marred by speakers that buzzed at highway speeds, and the premium interior trim panels would unpredictably detach during turns. Mack even attempted to incorporate shag carpet in certain models. Indeed, shag carpet in a semi-truck. This quickly turned into a moldy disaster within months of use in humid conditions. Number 4. Ford W Series, produced in 1977. The Ford W Series appeared promising in theory. However, its performance on the road told a different tale. The cab-over configuration was plagued by significant structural deficiencies, with stress fractures emerging in the frame within just a few months of operation. Although the company attempted to address the issue by adding reinforcement plates, this solution proved inadequate, akin to applying a Band-Aid to a severe injury. The most problematic aspect was the transmission. Ford implemented a new automated manual transmission intended to simplify the driving experience. Instead, it left drivers longing for the reliability of horseback riding. The gear shifting was so erratic that some drivers likened it to a game of Russian roulette. Number 5. Chevrolet Titan 90. Produced between 1971 and 1974. The Titan 90 represented Chevrolet's ambitious foray into the heavy-duty truck segment. However, it ultimately fell short of the grandeur suggested by its name. The vehicle was hindered by an insufficiently powerful engine that struggled to manage heavy loads, particularly on inclines. As a result, it earned the nickname Tiny Titan among drivers, who noted its inability to perform effectively. Additionally, the cab design presented significant challenges. The seating arrangement was so poorly conceived that individuals taller than 6 feet had to adopt an uncomfortable slouch to view traffic signals. Furthermore, the dashboard layout appeared to be crafted by someone unfamiliar with truck design, as crucial gauges were obscured by the steering wheel. The cooling system also proved to be a significant flaw in the engineering of the Titan 90. The radiator was inadequately sized for the engine, and the fan clutch frequently failed unexpectedly. Savvy drivers often kept a supply of coolant in the cab to mitigate potential overheating issues. Some fleet operators even resorted to installing aftermarket cooling systems to ensure reliable performance during the summer months. Number 6. Diamond Rio Giant, produced between 1977 and 1978. Diamond Rio was already facing significant challenges when the Giant was introduced, and this vehicle exacerbated their difficulties. The Giant was plagued by severe quality control problems, with components literally detaching during regular use. One driver recounted an incident where his side mirror unexpectedly came off while driving on the highway, which certainly served as an ominous sign. The truck's electrical system was fraught with issues to the extent that some mechanics declined to service it. The wiring harness resembled a convoluted puzzle, and diagnosing electrical problems was akin to attempting to solve a Rubik's Cube in complete darkness. Ultimately, Diamond Rio declared bankruptcy in 1978, with the Giant significantly contributing to this downfall. Number 7. Western Star Heritage, from 1975. Western Star endeavored to merge traditional aesthetics with contemporary technology in the Heritage model. The outcome was a vehicle that appeared visually appealing in images but exhibited poor performance on the road. The cab experienced significant vibration issues at highway speeds, leading to its moniker, Paint Shaker. Access to the engine was so limited that routine maintenance tasks turned into lengthy endeavors. One mechanic noted that replacing the water pump necessitated the removal of a substantial portion of the cab. The Heritage was ultimately phased out after only 1 year, illustrating that certain combinations of classic and modern elements are best left unpursued. Compounding its challenges, Western Star implemented a distinctive air suspension system that would unpredictably adjust during operation. Drivers reported instances of the truck suddenly tilting to one side without any prior indication. Additionally, the onboard air compressor was inadequately powered, requiring as much as 15 minutes to generate sufficient pressure for a morning start. Number 8. Kenworth K100 Aerodyne, produced in 1976. Before any Kenworth enthusiasts express their discontent, they need to consider this perspective. Although the K100 was a respectable truck, the Aerodyne package presented a different challenge. Intended to enhance fuel efficiency through its aerodynamic roof extension, it inadvertently resulted in increased wind resistance, leading to higher fuel consumption on various routes. The situation worsened in windy conditions. The elevated roof functioned similarly to a sail, compromising the truck's stability in crosswinds. Drivers reported heightened anxiety when overtaking or being overtaken by other vehicles during blustery weather. Some even opted not to operate these trucks when wind speeds surpassed 20 miles per hour. Number 9. GMC Astro 95, produced in 1973. The Astro 95 resembled a vehicle from a science fiction narrative. However, its avant-garde design could not conceal its significant shortcomings. The aerodynamic configuration of the cab inadvertently generated a vacuum effect at specific speeds, drawing exhaust fumes into the interior. The presence of carbon monoxide certainly added an unwelcome element to those extended journeys. Additionally, the truck's suspension system was a notable drawback. The ride quality was so jarring that drivers reported experiencing fatigue after only a few hours of operation. One operator likened the experience to navigating a jackhammer along a washboard road. Although GMC addressed these concerns in subsequent models, the 1973 iteration remains a blemish on their reputation. The fuel system also presented considerable challenges, as the tanks were susceptible to airlocks during elevated temperatures. Furthermore, the innovative yet flawed air ride seat system would gradually lose pressure over prolonged trips, causing drivers to sink lower until their chins nearly rested on the steering wheel. Consequently, some truckers resorted to carrying phone books for added height. Number 10. Peterbilt 352 COE, produced in 1972. Even esteemed manufacturers are not immune to errors, and the 1972 Peterbilt 352 COE stands as a notable example. This cab-over model experienced significant stability challenges, particularly when operating without a load. Operators reported that the vehicle would bounce over uneven surfaces, occasionally resulting in the drive wheels losing traction with the pavement. Additionally, the heating system proved to be a considerable failure. During winter months, the cab was so frigid that drivers found it necessary to don their heavy coats while inside. Conversely, in the summer, the situation was equally problematic as the cab would become excessively hot, resembling a greenhouse, despite all windows being fully opened. Some drivers humorously remarked that it was possible to prepare breakfast on the dashboard during summer trips. Number 11. Brockway 361, produced in 1977. Brockway's final effort before ceasing operations was the 361 model, which exemplified the company's underlying issues. The truck was plagued by significant quality control problems, as components sourced from various suppliers frequently failed to align properly. Consequently, the vehicle deteriorated at an alarming rate, underscoring the company's financial instability. The braking system was especially troublesome. The air brake mechanism often froze in cold temperatures, creating hazardous situations for drivers. Although the company attempted to address this concern with a revised valve design, their reputation had already suffered irreparable damage by that time. While the cab's fiberglass design was intended to resist rust, it instead proved to be prone to cracking and costly repairs. The company's financial decline led to a shortage of replacement parts even prior to the cessation of production. As a result, some owners were compelled to create their own components or salvage parts from other trucks to maintain functionality. Number 12. International Cargo Star, produced between 1970 and 1974. The Cargo Star models from the early 1970s were riddled with issues that rendered them a source of ridicule within the industry. The design of the cab mount was so inadequate that the cab would shift on the frame during sudden stops. Drivers had to brace themselves not only for the impact of braking, but also for the cab's significant forward movement. Furthermore, the accessibility of the engine was highly problematic. Performing basic maintenance demanded an extraordinary level of flexibility from mechanics. One shop owner remarked that changing the oil felt akin to conducting surgery through a mailbox opening. Although International later redesigned the access panels, they had already established a reputation for being difficult to maintain. Number 13. Ford CL 9000, produced in 1977. The Ford CL 9000 is widely regarded as the most disappointing semi-truck of the 1970s. This vehicle represented Ford's effort to penetrate the premium heavy-duty market, but it ultimately fell short in a dramatic fashion. The cab exhibited significant structural deficiencies, with cracks developing in the A-pillars within just a few months of operation. The electrical system proved to be a significant challenge, plagued by random shorts that led to issues ranging from headlight malfunctions to complete failures of the instrument panel. The air conditioning system was so unreliable that dealerships began providing portable fans with new truck purchases, which certainly did not inspire confidence in the product. However, the most problematic aspect was the engine. Ford introduced a new diesel engine design intended to enhance efficiency, but it instead became notorious for its frequent breakdowns. Many trucks spent more time undergoing repairs than they did on the road. One fleet owner reported that the maintenance costs for his CL 9000 ACES during their inaugural year exceeded the initial purchase price. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit that subscribe button.